In this video, I want to address some of the most common questions that people have when they want to sign up for this refugee program to America. So I also want to do like a two-in-one, and I think this will be only part one because there's a lot of questions and I don't want to make the videos too long. And I'll put links in the description if you want to skip sections. But in any case, so on our Facebook page, we've got a section called Guides. So if you go to this section, you will note that there is all these relevant questions that you can go through and maybe get the answers that you need. So if you go on your guide, you will see all the questions on the left side. If you're on your PC, on a phone, I'm not quite sure what it looks up there like, but here you can go through all the questions and maybe get quick answers. But we'll go through most of them in any case in this video. So the criteria to join this program, obviously this has been said many times, but it boils down to be a South African national, be an Afrikaner or a member of a racial minority in South Africa. And then also you need to be able to articulate past or present or future persecution based on race, religion, and nationality. So basically just about anybody can apply thanks to our little government. Where to apply, I'll put a link in the description, but it is also on the Facebook page that is on the US Embassy webpage. Then the whole process, I'm not going to go through the complete process here. You can watch the video, but basically you fill in the application, wait to be contacted, and then follow as you are told to do. Then there's also a post with some more detailed information. Once again, I don't want to make this video too long, but you can find the information here. Then can I choose where I want to live in the USA? So the short answer is no. In essence, they put you where they think it's best. However, if you have friends and family, you can ask them to put you or close to them, either close to them, or maybe if they are willing to give you accommodation, in which case they will be contacted and asked whether or not they are willing to accommodate you. But then again, it's not guaranteed, and it's just hope and pray and just ask. If you don't ask, you will not receive. Basically on the same question, if your family members are already there, whether they've used the refugee program or they have been living in America for quite some time, you can ask to be placed with or close to them. Once again, no guarantees. And they might get contacted to confirm and maybe ask them, do they have accommodation for you? And are they willing to set you up? So how long does this process take? This is a very common question. As you can see, there's no short answer. It can take from 6 months to 3 years. Luckily at this stage, they are ramping up the efforts, but there's still no exact time frame. People need to be patient. You're not going to put your application in and fly tomorrow. It might happen that people that put the application in after you, fly before you, but that might be for various reasons. We actually don't know. But things that can influence it is whether or not there's public holidays, missing documents, changes to your application. So don't change your application. If somebody wants to go with, and make sure they're not going to pull out later on, stuff like that, or the other way around. Whether, like I said, planes don't fly in storms, and accommodation availability. And they've got to find suitable accommodation. In my case, as being disabled, obviously they'll be looking for accommodation that should be wheelchair friendly. Also, if there's any criminal records that they need to look into, and whether or not if you were in the army or the police force, that also takes some investigation from their side. And then medical conditions they have to consider. So all that is stuff that they look and might influence how long it takes. But still, we don't really know. I know it gets frustrating, but just hang in there, your time will come. Then your My Case, once you start in the process, you've done your first interviews and stuff, then you might get, or you will get, a My Case login. And this can confuse people. They don't update this regularly, so don't fixate on looking every hour whether or not your case is updated. It takes forever. And then it also goes back and forth. So sometimes it will say you've done something or it's been completed, and then they just changed it back to in process again. So they're constantly doing checks and stuff, so it might go back and forth the whole time. Also, lately they have updated the portal if they request for documentation to allow you to upload your documents. So keep an eye on that. Another question that comes up regularly is this question about fingerprints. Do you need more than one set of fingerprints, or do they require it a second time? So usually no, it's not required for a second, but there is times that it might be a requirement. So to give you an idea, for my daughter, she suffers from hyperdryosis, which is basically she sweats a lot on her hands. And the first time she did her fingerprints, they thought it was okay. And then the next day she had to redo them because it wasn't clear enough. So it can happen, but generally, no, it doesn't happen. So, and also if there's anything they picked up on, maybe criminal records and stuff like that. But in most cases, it's simple reasons, like it's not clear enough. That's that. Oh, this is a very important one. Is the program free? So the program is 100% free, except for your flight tickets. The flight tickets will need to be repaid, but you get like 7 months and they give you time to find a work and whatever, and then you get 36 months to pay that back interest free. So, and even if you don't have a job within that time, they still do. They still take care of you. So you're not on a predicament that you have to pay them all that money back straight away. But any other costs, there is no cost. Nobody must ask you for money to help them in any way. Be aware of scammers. And if you find scammers, just mail the CWS. So who should be the main member? The main member should be somebody that can articulate your case the best, talk about the future persecution, why you should be able to go over and should be accepted. And another thing that's quite important is if the main member has got dual citizenship, that can be problematic. So, if possible, somebody that's not dual citizenship with another country should be the main member. It just makes the process easier. But I'll talk about the dual citizenship in another question. And the main person will also be the person that will get the emails or the correspondences, and the one that's got to get the MyCase login and all that kind of stuff. So any communication will also be with the main member. Okay, so who can or cannot be linked to your profile? So any person that's under the age of 21 that's part of your family can be included in your application. So if you've got children you've adopted under the age and you are the breadwinner and you've got custody of those children, they can also apply. But keep in mind, you've got to give all the correct paperwork and certificates and all that kind of stuff that you've got. You've got to have that on record available as well. And any dependents, now there is maybe, let's say, elderly people that stay with you in home that is totally dependent on you. Once again, you need to give all the relevant paperwork for that and why that is. Same with children with special needs, that's over 21. And then people that cannot be included is adults over 21 that's not part of the family, or even family members. If your children, parents, grandparents over the age of 21 that's got their own work, they're not dependent on you anymore, they've got to do a separate application. Any siblings, brothers, sisters, they need to apply separately. And then extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles, and so forth. That being said, you can request that family members, their case be linked to your case. It doesn't guarantee that you will be placed at the same place, but they will try and do that. So make sure you tell your officers or the interview, when you go for the interview, to link your cases. And keep in mind, do this when you at the application of doing your interviews, because to contact them afterwards is very difficult, as well as it might mess up your whole application process. So can you apply if you're currently in another country? And there's just one answer on that. That is basically no. While being in another country, you cannot apply. This is basically for South Africans stuck under South Africa and the South African rule and persecution. So if you're currently in another country, basically you're saying, I am able to get out of this, and I don't need to apply for this. That being said, if you've worked in another place, let's say Dubai, and you come back, it doesn't count against you because you'll be in South Africa at the time you do your application. And when they require you to be there for interviews. Medications. Medications is a big thing. There's a lot of info on this. It can actually be just more than just one video. But let's break it down quickly. Medications, you are not a drug mule in essence. Don't try and hide your medications. You will need to take at least 3 months worth of medications. And what you also should do is take your, especially with chronic medication, your doctor's script for that medications, as well as a doctor's letter that can break down why you need that medication and everything that's related to your illness or disease or condition, whatever. The same applies if it's for children with conditions or grandparents or elderly, whatever. Make sure you get all the relevant documentation from your doctor and prescriptions. And like I said, pack at least 3 months worth of medications. And keep in mind this, when you get to the airports and the TSA, there's different rules for solid or pills versus liquid medications. So I've linked 2 videos in a post on Facebook that goes into detail with that. It's worth watching, so make sure you do that. One of the things that's quite important is put your meds in a clear, visible, see-through bag that if you have to take it out at security and for security checks, they can see everything on there. Where possible, keep the original containers and put it in specific empty containers with no labels. Keep the labels on wherever possible. And then another thing that's also quite important is carry it on you when you go onto the plane. Don't put it in your check-in luggage. Couple of reasons for that is we're in South Africa. We know luggage gets robbed. We know luggage can get missing. We can also think of about, let's say you need medication while on flight. It is a long flight. Like in my case, the odds is I will need to take my meds at some time during that flight. And you must be able to reach it quite easily whenever you need to. Okay, so like I said, I've linked 2 videos that you can watch. Definitely make a point of watching them. There's also a website with more travel tips that you can go through. I'll put links in the description as well as in Facebook. Getting to the dual citizenship question. Can you apply if you've got dual citizenship? So yes, you can apply. However, if another family, like your spouse, does not have dual citizenship, it would be better if that spouse or that person do the main application. And the reason for that is they don't want to split families. But if you are the main member and you've got dual citizenship, then you've got to articulate why can't you go to the other country that you've got citizenship for. So in my case, I've got dual citizenship with Germany. However, my wife and daughter does not. My wife was the main applicant, so the dual citizenship doesn't bother them. I'm a dependent on my wife. She's main member, and I can still go to America without. If I were the main member, the problem would have been I've got to articulate why can't I go to Germany. And we had paperwork ready when we did our interview, was why I thought I can't go to Germany. But it was never even used or requested because my wife that doesn't have that dual citizenship has already, she was the main applicant. Another question that comes up a lot is, can you take your pets with? So yes, the short answer is you can. However, they don't pay for it. It's on your own. You've got to pay for it yourself. They do arrange anything. USCIS, CWS, RCS, none of these guys arrange for your pet to go over. You've got to arrange it yourself. I've put 3 places that specialize in that on the page, on the web page, Facebook. But the main thing here is it'll cost you a lot of money. It's quite expensive to take your pet over. So keep that in mind. And remember, the government, the American government won't pay for any of that. So that's 15 questions that are just some of the main ones I could think of for now. But I'll do some more because there's definitely a lot more questions. In the meantime, keep an eye on the Facebook group. I'll keep on posting more questions under the guides, and make sure if you have any answers, updates, or anything, you're more than welcome to comment and help us grow the information. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.